During the time that Germany was fighting for unification, Italy was also going to war for unification. But what if Italy didn't go to war for unification? What if Italy never unified in 1871? Now, we will look at one scenario that could have happened, which, in my opinion, is the most likely. Now, there is no things that need to change majorly, apart from the Italian statespeople not wanting unification. So, with that stated, let us begin. So, the 19th century had arrived, and the Italian people had an idea. After Napoleon had eradicated the Holy Roman Empire, the Romans wanted a third empire, sort of like the Third Reich, as they believed that it would last for 1,000 years. So they start to build the newly named Industrial Roman Empire. Original. And it started to expand in 1860. And by 1863, the Romans had conquered most of Italy, and they only needed Sicily to then expand further. But Sicily didn't really like the idea of a third invasion from their neighbours. So the Romans tried to negotiate with them, but it went nowhere. And the Sicilians said that should the Romans invade, then war would begin. So the Romans then started to expand, avoiding Sicily for another 5 years to Spain, North Africa, Greece, and Switzerland. But by the summer of 1869, the Romans needed Sicily. So, ignoring the Sicilians' advice, they invade. The Sicilians don't have a massive army, but they have placed nearly 10,000 traps on the beaches and forestry and plains by the beach. So, as the Romans attack the beach, their initial invasion force of around 300,000 men, only 200,000 make it alive, and the Sicilians only have a fifth of their army size at 40,000 men. And by the end of 1869, the Romans and Sicilians were exhausted. But the Sicilian army formed one last offensive against the Romans, and succeeded. The Industrial Roman Empire was spent and fell by 1870. Italy wasn't under Roman rule anymore, and when World War I began, the Italian states are now property of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but the state of the empire is still in our own timeline, so it's on the verge of collapse. No one's motivated to fight for it, they just want to survive. So the war ends, and Mussolini arrives. Wait, hold on, no. Mussolini doesn't arrive because he was conscripted into the Austro-Hungarian army and killed during the Brusilov offensive in 1916. So the states remain ununited until the end of the 20th century, where the UN tries to unite the Italian states but fail along with the communist bloc during the Cold War, and these states all go to war during the 20th and 21st century, hence the UN and the communists wanting to unite it, so then they can stop sending resources. And at the end of it, the UN and the communists decide that, well, what is now Russia, decides that it would be best to just end the Italian states with nuclear ICBMs. Italy is not the place of Mario. Nothing actually lives in Italy anymore, as so many ICBMs were launched. It's now just the equivalent of DC in Fallout 3. Just completely barren. So, no matter how crazy this scenario sounds, this is what I believe to be the most likely. Because if there was no Italian empire, there would have been a Roman empire, or any other of the states' empires. So, that's going to conclude this alternate history scenario for today. Let me know if you have an alternate history idea and leave it in the comments below. And I shall see you on Sunday for Operation Barbarossa.